Hi everyone, and welcome back to In the Chair. So by now you know that this series is all about shining a light on those that are working backstage. But today is all about the people backstage who make the lights shine on stage. I'm talking about the lighting department. Lighting does a lot for the overall mood of each production, and it takes a good team of people to make it all happen seamlessly on stage. But don't just take it from me. Hear from our lighting director herself, Krista Billings.
Lighting is really important, both backstage and on stage. On stage, lighting helps sets the mood, helps focus. Backstage, it's really important so that people are able to see what they are doing. It's a really dark environment. I need to make sure there's enough light backstage for the singers and for the stage managers to be able to do their job. We have little LED stage markers that are lighting up set pieces so people don't run into them, clip lights and blue light backstage so people can see where they're going. Also, we try to help the costumes when we have quick changes and the wigs with quick changes so they have the light to be able to do what they need to do and keep their job going. Usually about 6 weeks out, before we start loading in, I get a light plot from the lighting designer. And the lighting designers we work with are all over, from America to Europe to Australian. And of course, every country has its own standards and abbreviations for things like that. So I deal with a whole bunch of rentals, and that what they're giving us is actually doable in the time frame that we have and also the budget. The actual time frame with working with a lighting designer can be on and off for up to 6 months, depending on if we're doing a new production or a remount. I generally like to talk to them at least 6 weeks out before the light plot is due. It gets a little complicated because sometimes at the opera we're actually doing 2 shows at once, and then we're hanging 2 light plots, and I'm coordinating between both the designers of how we're going to get both the light plots up and if there's going to be lights that we can share. Well, I start working with the crew approximately 3 weeks out. I work with my head electrician and my board op, and they break down the plot. And breaking down the plot is just figuring out how each unit is going to be powered and controlled. So in household terms, it's like every light gets its own outlet and its own breaker that gets controlled by the light board. So 2 weeks out, we start working on all that, and we get a massive cable order in. And then 1 week out before load in, I get the electrics crew in, and we start prepping the plot. Cutting color for the conventional lights that we have to color. We're pulling gobos, and gobos are steel patterns that we use to make shadows. Doing everything that we need to do to make sure that the first day of load in, we can start going. Once we get to load in, the first day and a half is electrics. So that's when we have the stage to hang all our lights. Every electric is usually hung on a batten or on a truss. I have a standard crew of 9. And then we add about 6 more for those 2 days to hang all the lights over stage. And that means that every light that we hung, which can be up to, 600 lights, I have to be working and operational in that day and a half. After that, the sets come in, and we have a harder time bringing in our electric pipes. Once we're done with overstage, we start working on the side, the lights, which we call booms, which are lights on sticks. And then we also start working on the front of house, which are all the lights that are hung over the auditorium. Once the sets are in, we start focusing the lights. Every light that is not a mover, we consider conventional lightings. It has to be touched by an electrician. Focus generally takes about 12 hours to do. And focusing a light is kind of like focusing a camera, or kind of like a flashlight. You can zoom it in and out, get hard edges, soft edges, and it has shutters so that you can cut the light off of objects that you don't want it. There's queuing sessions where we set the lights with just light walkers. Unlike regional theater, opera doesn't actually get to queue with the singers because they're busy or they're resting. And so we have light walkers that help us queue, that actually walk the set accordance to the director or the assistant director. And they stand where they need to stand, and then we light the show that way. And then in the evenings, we can actually run the show with the performers and actually see how successful we were. We're doing changes on the fly, and then we usually have notes in the morning and start cueing again. Once we're done focusing, we can actually start teching. And tech is when we start actually designing what the lights look like on stage. That's when we start turning on the lights and setting different levels, which all go through our board op. Our board op, Dean Herrera, is amazing and very quick, which makes life really nice. Also during tech is when my assistant deals with the follow spots and starts setting all of them. I can't do my job without my assistants, by the way. So, oftentimes when we get a light plot, there's a lot of challenges in it. A lot of times there are massive rolling units that are electrified, items called practicals, which are everyday lights like some street lights, porch lights that we need to be dealing with in and out of the acts. There's even times in between intermission where we're refocusing lights because we have a different set on and the lights are being used in a different way.